Okie doke. Who knows what the replicants are? What they used to be called in the old team site, the link list or something like that. They're a sorry?
Link section.
Link section. They're a layout that's so complicated we couldn't even name it right in the new SharePoint. That's how bad it is. How many people love working with replicants? You love working with replicants? Really? I'm about to ruin your world. I'm so sorry. Hopefully I'm making it even easier for you. One of the most common complaints we have at our help desk, especially at the beginning of transition, replicant pages were a pain to deal with. They part of the problem is because everything in the old V3 is laid out. I think Eric kind of alluded to this slightly when he talked. Everything, and when you look at the HTML under the hood, it uses tables for markup. And there's a lot of those hidden cells. So the way that you use replicants in SharePoint that they envisioned when they first rolled it out is you had to make sure you dropped that reusable HTML in just the right spot, because if you didn't drop it in the TD with the class of body text, it was going to get big old text versus that little text. And we tried to add some guides in there for you, inner content here to help you out, but it still became a complicated mess to deal with. And so we think we've got a better way for you to interact with replicants. We've been beta testing this on the staging environment. The reason I specifically chose this ODOT page to do it is if you go down through it to test it, it's full of complicated tables and layouts and all sorts of things. So if our new engine was going to wreck this, we needed to fix it. So I purposely, this is the page I used when we were developing the new replicant engine, which incidentally is called Blade Runner. Does anybody get the reference? Blade Runner and its replicant? Yes. So we developed a new engine and hopefully a new, more intuitive way for you to deal with these linked list replicant pages. Hopefully, when it's time to actually use them, when we roll this out, I'll talk a little bit more about rolling it out here in a bit. It's going to be, everything works behind the scenes automatically. You don't have to do anything except make sure your content transitions over flawlessly. And I guess without further ado, let me just show you how it works. This page right now, if you actually go in and you look at the view source of this page, it's the old replicant laid out with tables in the old replicant engine. But the code underneath this is Blade Runner, so it's going to do the transitioning for us when we log in. If you have an old replicant site with that old code in it, and you come to it, we should automatically just transition everything over for you. And so let's edit us a page here. And do I have any, we got one Mac shop in the house. You're going to love this. 2 Mac shops in the house. This is going to work slightly better not in Internet Explorer. And I'm going to explain that to you why. Internet Explorer being part of the Microsoft family, Microsoft tries to do things like, you have noticed as I was loading the page, things kind of hopped around here a bit. SharePoint tries to help you out, Internet Explorer tries to help you out by focusing you on the right spot. Well, we're kind of putting a layer of functionality on top of that we kind of move the right spot. So you'll see a little bouncing and a little weirdness in Internet Explorer, and it's depending on like the older versions of Internet Explorer, things might not run, so they might run a little more slowly because they've got slower JavaScript engines. IE8 and 7 won't process as fast as 9 or 10, and won't process as fast as Chrome or Firefox. But should still be usable, should still work. You'll notice the first thing when we load the page, you get this cute little notice up here that warns you important. We've just tried to port your content over to the new replicant way of doing things. And we tell you to go ahead and take a good look at your content to make sure everything came over well. And we mean that. What we've done is we give you a preview mode here when the page first loads. And the preview mode, compare it to what was supposed to be there. Because like I was telling you before, this engine, when it's going through there and picking out your content, it's trying to look for certain table cells as where your content's supposed to be. And if you're one of these people that have made your replicants and you drop them into the wrong spot, things might look a little hacky. So be sure you go down through the list. And if you see any issues, contact the eGov help desk. We'll come in, we'll convert it over manually to the new replicant format, so you won't have to worry about that. And it's a fairly quick process for us to do on the fly. So just make sure you go through your content, make sure everything looks okay, and hopefully you won't be able to tell a difference because you can't see it, but none of this is laid out with tables anymore except the actual data tables themselves. But we've imported it into a new, happier, friendlier code that is compliant for the future. One other thing you'll notice is your list, your links at the top are going to look a little different, and they're going to get these cute little menus when you mouse over them. Plus, you've got a cool little Add New Item button here. Pay attention to this baseline report. I don't want it on top. I'll now be able to drag and drop that into whatever order I want it to appear on the page. I want it to be the third item down. There it is, third item down, automatically done. I can save it, I'm happy, and I never have to cut and paste the table again. Come on, people, that's great. I get excited about this. I want to edit that piece. Oh, I forgot to make a little thing to go away. There it is. I want to edit that piece. All I got to do is mouse over it, edit it, and you'll notice that it's popped down into something called edit mode now, and we give you this green little dotted border around it just to reinforce that you're in edit mode. All that other stuff in preview mode goes away. By the way, preview mode is just what it sounds like, preview mode. It's not the typical editing window. Edit mode is where you can actually do the editing now. If I need to go in here and change some content, I can click in here, and you'll notice then I start getting my typical SharePoint tools. I can change baseline reports to, and don't worry, Jesse, this is on staging. I'm not messing up anything good. Baseline, cool, replicant, well, you get the picture. And if I decide I don't like my changes, I can hit cancel. It'll dispose of it. If I want to save the item, I can save it, and it kicks it down into preview mode. And you come down here and see where I saved my very poorly typed edit. Now, just a word of caution: when you save at that point, it doesn't save the entire page yet. Saving the page is still a process of using the ribbon to save the page, check it in, check it out like you normally would. That just saves that particular item and drops you back down in the preview mode. Suppose you need to add a new item, you click Add, and then you get, and you have to bear with me here because I am not the best clicker in the world. Let's just add a new one for posterity here as well. Click in here, and again, you'll notice you get that jumping around because Internet Explorer and SharePoint's trying to help you out. You people on the Mac shop, if you're using Chrome or Firefox, you're not going to get that stuff. So if you want to edit a replicate page, use Chrome or Firefox. You don't have to, but it will still work. You can click in. I just want to caution you all, I am from Kentucky, so spelling is a hard thing for me. And apparently mouse control is a hard thing for me too. Let's just leave it at that. Musia. Bear with me, it's a strange keyboard. And I could either, if I want to start over, and I got to think it's the shelf rating for finding this little bug here. We found some issues that in Internet Explorer especially, but it happens in Chrome too. If you accidentally delete a lot of stuff, you kind of get your cursor caught. You could reset to start over on a new item, or you can cancel and back out. So if you make any mistakes, feel free to cancel back out. You're not losing a lot of work. Save your item. You'll notice it drops it into the bottom part, the very last of the list. I don't like it there. Let me move it right up to the top. Bam, there it is. I want to edit it again. I decide I don't like this one. I can delete it. Let me drag it up here to see if you actually see it deleting. Drag and drop. I don't like that one. I want to remove a whole section. Delete. Are you sure? Now, just to warn you, if you decide you want to delete a whole section of work and you click OK, that sucker's done unless you undo your checkout before you save. But there's no getting it back at this point. There's no recycle bin, so be very careful when you delete stuff. But this is something we're very excited about. You can probably tell I'm just giddy about this because I think we've heard about your issues dealing with replicants and what a pain in the butt they are. Thank you. And we're hoping that this makes it a little better for you. We've been testing. I've had some good beta testers on staging who've given me some really good feedback. We're hoping that it's something that's ready for you to use. I'm not guaranteeing it's going to be bug-free. You might run into an issue or two, but we'll do our best to get it working for you. And we're looking at, talking to Ron this morning, a week from Saturday is our next rollout window, which gives Sean Amsbury time to get some training materials together and for us to schedule some time to actually show you guys formally how to use it rather than this very, very quick walkthrough. And it gives Fox time to alert their authors that things are about to change. And the way you edit replicant pages is about to be a little different. So, like I said, I hope it's something that you find useful. I hope it's something that helps. And I hope that we get into the new V4 soon so you'll never have to mess with replicants ever again. But that's another story, and that's a little foreshadowing. But that's another story, and that's a little foreshadowing the future to come. Any questions about the new Blade Runner engine? Good, bad, ugly? Throw it away. We like the old way of doing it. Now we have one fan here, and I don't mean to single you out. Look a little better. I'm excited. And yes. We are looking at the next maintenance window is not April 6th? Yes, which is a week from Saturday, right? Yes, that's about a week from Saturday. We're looking at rolling it out then. So between now and then, we'd like to ramp up the effort to get Fox involved and to warn your authors that this change is coming and some, like I said, training materials so they'll know how to use it. But hopefully it's intuitive enough that it's not that hard to use. Seal of approval. Yes.
I really like that you're able to do the auto transfer to, or that's an option.
We're hoping that most of the replicant pages out there haven't been built incorrectly with things in the wrong table cell. There's not a lot, but yeah, hopefully it's all automatically behind the scenes and you don't have to worry about it, and you just dismiss that box and go on with your day. And oh, I'm sorry. I apologize for all you people out there. The comment was that it was it's really nice that the Blade Runner engine takes the old content and converts it over for you. And that's one of the conveniences we were hoping to actually work into it, because if we had to ask you to go in and know how to, okay, put this in this div and this in this div and this in this div and throw the rest away, you would have shot it. And run us out on town with pitchforks and torches, and I like it here. I even bought a house now, but I mentioned that. Who's in Orchard Heights? You're my neighbor, by the way. Any other questions? Any other comments? Oh, when you create, just for that whole transitioning over from the old page, when you create a new replicant page, it's just new replicant out of the box. I mean, you don't even have to worry about that old stuff. You get an add new item button, and you start adding the pieces in and build your preview mode, push publish, and hopefully life is good. Very little issues. Anything else? Tired of hearing me for a second time? In that case, I want to turn it back over to Wally, and thank you for putting up with some slides.